Imagine walking out to your driveway, turning the key in your Citroën, and unknowingly putting yourself and everyone else on the road at risk. That's the chilling reality facing some Citroën owners right now. Across the UK and Europe, reports have been piling up of mysterious issues that strike without warning. Sudden stalls, strange dashboard lights, and even critical failures while driving. Mechanics and experts are sounding the alarm, saying this isn't just a minor quirk. It could be a serious safety hazard. And the scariest part? Many owners don't even realize the danger until it's too late. Before you start your Citroën again, here's what you absolutely need to know. Behind the sleek design and comfortable interiors that Citroën is known for, there's a problem lurking under the surface that many owners were never warned about. Recent investigations and mechanic reports suggest that certain Citroën models are experiencing a dangerous mix of software malfunctions and mechanical faults, particularly in the ignition and fuel management systems. Drivers have described bizarre situations. Engines cutting out seconds after starting, dashboard warnings flickering like Christmas lights, and sudden power losses in the middle of traffic. In some cases, the problem isn't visible at first. The car runs perfectly fine during short trips, but when pushed for longer drives, it begins to reveal its flaws. Experts say that what makes this issue so concerning is its unpredictability. It doesn't always trigger an immediate error code, which means many owners are unknowingly driving with a hidden time bomb under the hood. Imagine merging onto a motorway, only to have your car suddenly lose acceleration with lorries speeding past you. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a terrifying safety risk. What's worse, there are whispers among technicians that Citroën and its parent company, Stellantis, may have known about these flaws for months, but have been slow to issue widespread recalls. This raises a pressing question. Are owners being left in the dark while corporate PR tries to contain the damage? For many Citroën owners, the nightmare doesn't begin in the workshop. It starts on an ordinary day behind the wheel. Drivers have taken to forums, Facebook groups, and even local news outlets to share eerily similar stories. Some describe their car sputtering and shutting down mid-commute, forcing them to pull over in panic as warning lights flash across the dashboard. Others say the vehicle seems fine at first, but then suddenly loses power while overtaking, leaving them stranded in the fast lane with cars blaring their horns as they scramble to safety. A mother from Manchester reported how her Citroën cut out while she was driving her kids to school, the steering wheel locking up as if the car had given up entirely. In London, a delivery driver said he had to abandon his route after his van stalled 3 times in less than an hour, costing him wages and nearly causing an accident. What makes these experiences even more unsettling is their random nature. Some cars misbehave only once a week, others every single day. And yet, when taken to a dealership, many owners say they're met with a frustrating response. We couldn't find any faults. This leaves them feeling trapped, unsure whether their car will get them safely home or leave them stranded in a dangerous situation. The result? A growing sense of mistrust and fear among Citroën drivers, many of whom are now questioning whether they can rely on a brand they once trusted. When reports first started surfacing, many drivers expected Citroën to act quickly, to acknowledge the problem, issue a clear warning, and launch a recall. But instead, the response has been slow, vague, and for some, downright infuriating. Official statements from Citroën and Stellantis downplay the issue, describing it as isolated cases or rare malfunctions. Yet the number of complaints continues to grow, suggesting this is anything but rare. In some European countries, small-scale recalls have quietly been announced, focusing on particular batches of vehicles where ignition or software issues were confirmed. But here in the UK, many owners claim they haven't received any official notice at all. Instead, dealerships have been instructed to perform diagnostic checks and software updates, which often leave the underlying problem unresolved. This half-measure approach has fueled suspicions that the company is more concerned about protecting its reputation than ensuring driver safety. Industry experts point out that a full recall could cost Citroën millions, especially if it spans multiple models and production years, which might explain the hesitation. But that hesitation has consequences. Every day of delay means thousands of drivers could be getting into cars that may suddenly fail them on the road. For owners, the silence feels like betrayal. They trusted the brand, they paid for reliability, and now they're left wondering. If a company won't fully admit to a dangerous fault, how much can you really trust their promise of safety? While Citroën's official response has been cautious, independent experts and mechanics across the UK are sounding far louder alarms. Several well-known auto repair specialists have gone on record to say that the issue is not only real, but potentially life-threatening if ignored. According to mechanics, the fault seems to stem from a combination of faulty ignition modules, inconsistent fuel delivery, and problematic ECU, engine control unit, software updates. In layman's terms, this means the car's brain and its fuel system are sometimes speaking different languages, and when that communication breaks down, the car can suddenly lose power or stall. One veteran mechanic in Birmingham said he has already worked on more than a dozen Citroën models with the exact same symptoms, describing it as a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, automotive engineers warn that because the issue doesn't always leave a clear diagnostic code, many dealerships might overlook it during routine servicing, sending drivers back on the road with cars that remain unsafe. Safety advocates stress that a stall at low speeds is inconvenient, but at high speeds, on motorways or when overtaking, it could prove catastrophic. Experts are now urging owners not to dismiss even the smallest signs. Flickering dashboard lights, strange electrical glitches, or momentary drops in acceleration. Some are even recommending that drivers avoid using their cars until the manufacturer takes more decisive action. It's a rare moment where those who usually make a living repairing cars are instead warning people to think twice before even starting them. For many Citroën drivers, the problem isn't just about safety. It's also about the crushing financial burden that comes with it. Imagine buying a car you thought was dependable, only to find yourself paying hundreds, sometimes thousands, for repairs that don't even fix the root cause. Owners report being charged for replacement ignition coils, fuel pumps, and ECU reprogramming, only to have the same issues reappear weeks later. Some have gone through this cycle 2 or 3 times, draining their savings while dealerships insist that the car is fine now. Others who try to sell their cars quickly discover that word about the fault has spread, leaving resale values plummeting. A Citroën that might have fetched £8,000 a year ago now struggles to get offers above £4,500 as cautious buyers steer clear. For those who finance their vehicles, the situation is even more painful. They're stuck making monthly payments on a car they no longer trust to get them safely to work. Insurance premiums are also starting to creep upward for certain Citroën models, as risk assessments catch up with the reports of breakdowns and accidents. All of this leaves owners feeling trapped in a financial nightmare. Too risky to keep the car, too costly to repair it, and nearly impossible to sell it without taking a major loss. What began as a technical fault has snowballed into a wallet-draining crisis, one that punishes ordinary people for a corporate problem they had no control over. As the complaints pile up, drivers are looking to regulators and consumer watchdogs for answers. But the response so far has been frustratingly slow. The UK's Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency, DVSA, the body responsible for overseeing recalls and road safety, has acknowledged receiving multiple reports, but insists they are still investigating the scale of the problem. That statement alone has left many owners uneasy. How many more incidents need to occur before the situation is officially recognized as dangerous? Meanwhile, consumer protection groups like which have started highlighting Citroën owner stories, warning drivers to monitor their cars closely and to push for their rights under UK consumer law. Some members of Parliament have even raised the issue in transport committees, questioning whether manufacturers like Citroën are being held accountable for safety risks quickly enough. Across Europe, a few national authorities have already taken stronger stances. In France and Spain, limited recalls and mandatory checks have been ordered, which raises a troubling question. Why is the UK lagging behind? Critics argue that without swift regulatory intervention, thousands of motorists could remain exposed to serious risks on British roads. For now, the official advice is vague. If you notice unusual behavior in your vehicle, contact your dealership immediately. But for drivers who have already been dismissed or overcharged by dealerships, That's not good enough. The lack of a decisive statement from authorities adds another layer of tension to this story, one that feels like ordinary people are being left on their own while corporations and regulators shuffle papers behind closed doors. With the warnings from mechanics, the mounting financial strain, and the slow response from authorities, many Citroën owners are left asking the same question. What do I do right now? Experts recommend a few crucial steps. First, don't ignore the signs. If your car hesitates when starting, stalls unexpectedly, or shows even the smallest flicker of dashboard lights, treat it as serious. Document everything. Take photos, record videos of the issues, and keep all service receipts. This paper trail can become vital if recalls or compensation schemes are eventually announced. Second, contact Citroën directly and log an official complaint, even if it feels like shouting into the void. Every case adds pressure on the company to act. Third, consider reaching out to independent mechanics for second opinions. Many are already familiar with the problem and may be more honest than dealership service centers. For those who feel unsafe, some consumer lawyers suggest invoking your rights under the Consumer Rights Act 2015, which protects UK buyers from faulty goods, cars included. In some cases, this law has allowed owners to demand refunds or replacements when a vehicle is not fit for purpose. Lastly, community is power. Online groups of Citroën drivers are already banding together to share advice, legal strategies, and updates on potential recalls. The more owners speak up, the harder it becomes for the issue to be swept under the rug. Until Citroën or UK regulators issue a firm recall, the reality is this. If you own one of these cars, you can't treat it like just another morning commute. Every time you turn the key, you need to think carefully, because ignoring the warnings could cost more than just money.